Miss Sarah with the Osceola Library System. Welcome to our live Anansi the Spider program. Woo! So excited. All right, so please make sure to follow along with us if you picked up an activity pack at one of our libraries. So as a reminder, every week all summer we explore all kinds of different fairy tales, and you can pick up activity packs at any of our library branches with instructions and supplies inside the week prior. Now, so we know how many of you are watching with us today. So whoever's with you at home watching, sitting on your couch or sitting at the table with you, just tell us how many are with you today in the comments or the chat below. And now I'm excited to introduce Miss Lisa.
Hi everybody, welcome. I am Miss Lisa and I'm the Youth Services Librarian at the West Osceola Library of the Osceola Library System. And today we're going to be talking about Anansi. Now, this book, Anansi the Spider, this is a trickster tale. And a trickster tale is a folk tale that entertains and often teaches a lesson about how to behave or how to treat others. Now, the main character, who today will be Anansi, he's a trickster, and he's usually an animal who has magical powers and human traits. For example, he can talk. Now, folk tales are a little bit different than fairy tales. People use folktales for many years to teach their children and to help them understand human behavior within their culture. Now, fairy tales are imaginary stories about people or fairies or animals or other things who have magical powers, and that's how they're a little bit different. Now, a little bit of background on Anansi. Now, the Anansi stories have said to have originated as oral traditions from the folk tales of the Ashanti people of Ghana, West Africa. And as a trickster and a mischief maker, Anansi uses his intelligence to deceive and outwit those who are bigger and more powerful than he is, and he's trying to get whatever he wants by tricking them. However, it does not always work out. He often falls victim to his own weakness of greed or laziness, and he's too clever for his own good. But in the end, there's a moral to the story, which is a lesson to be learned. And today, what we're going to do is I'm going to read the story, Anansi and the Magic Stick. And in the end, you will hear the moral. What I want you to do is, as I'm reading, see if you can figure out what the moral or the lesson of the story is. And at the end, make sure you put it in the chat box so we can see if you're right, okay? So this is Anansi and the Magic Stick. It was written by Eric Kimmel and illustrated by Janet Stevens. Anansi and the Magic Stick. It was a fine, bright day. All the animals were working in their gardens. All except Anansi the Spider. Anansi lay in his front yard, fast asleep. Look how hard everybody else is working and he's just sleeping. Warthog, lion, and zebra came walking by. Look at Anansi, he is so lazy, said Zebra. His house is falling apart. His yard is full of trash. He wouldn't get out of bed if his house caught on fire. Anansi is so lazy, he falls asleep standing up, said Lion. He is so lazy, moss grows on his head, Warthog added. Their noisy laughter woke Anansi. Be quiet, I am not lazy at all. I'm thinking. My mind is working hard. Anansi tapped his forehead. The animals laughed even harder. Anansi walked away. I don't have to listen to you. I'll find another place to sleep. Think. Anansi started walking down the road. Before he knew it, he had walked all the way to Hyena's house. Hyena lay in a hammock, fast asleep. His house was neat and tidy. His yard was beautifully planted with shrubs and flowers. What is Hyena's secret? Anansi wondered. No one ever sees him working, yet his house always looks beautiful. I need to find out how he does it. Now Anansi hid behind a bush, watching and waiting. How do you think he does it? Hyena woke up. He noticed a pile of dust on the path. He spoke to a stick leaning against a post. Hocus pocus, magic stick, sweep this dust up quick, quick, quick. As Anansi watched, the magic stick swept away the dust. When the dust was gone, Hyena said, "Abra, cadabra," and down fell the stick. Hyena leaned it back against the post and went inside the house. "That's just what I need," said Anansi. "If I had that magic stick, my house would be as beautiful as Hyena's. No one would laugh at me again." Anansi grabbed the magic stick and ran off as fast as his legs could go. Uh-oh. He soon became tired. "Why am I carrying this stick? It can carry me," Anansi said. So he said the magic words just as he remembered them. "Hocus pocus, magic stick, carry me home now, quick, quick, quick." And the stick picked up Anansi and carried him along. When they arrived at Anansi's house, he said, "Abracadabra, cadabra." Kaboom! The magic stick dropped Anansi on his head. "Ow!" Anansi cried. "Next time, put me down gently, stick. There's lots of work to do. Get rid of this trash first." And Anansi said the magic words. "Hocus pocus, magic stick, clean my yard up quick, quick, quick." And the magic stick whirled around and around. It gathered all the trash and threw it over the fence into Lion's yard. That wasn't very nice. "Good job, stick. Next, my house." Abracadabra, cadabra, down fell the stick. "Hocus pocus, magic stick, fix my house up quick, quick, quick." The magic stick whirled around and around. Wooden nails flew everywhere through the air. Bright pink paint splashed over the fence as Zebra came walking by. Anansi's house gleamed. So did Zebra. He was bright pink too. Abracadabra, cadabra, down fell stick. "Now for my garden," Anansi said. "But first look at Zebra. He doesn't look very happy. Oh my goodness." "Hocus pocus, magic stick, plant and water quick, quick, quick." The magic stick whirled around and around. It dug up the dirt, throwing the weeds into Warthog's tomato patch. Oh, that's not very nice. Look at that. It planted seeds in neat rows that were nice and straight. Then it began to water them, and Anansi yawned. "Oh, watching all this work makes me tired. I need a nap. Keep watering, stick. Don't stop." Anansi lay down and went to sleep. Oh my goodness, I wonder what's going to happen. What do you think is going to happen? The magic stick kept watering, watering, watering. Can you figure out what's happening? The vegetables grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and the water flowed across Anansi's yard out the gate. It was a trickle at first, and then a stream, and then a flood. Oh no! Then a mighty river. And I'll tell you a secret. Look at these two people here. One of them is the author, and one is the illustrator. They drew themselves into the book. Anyway, there was a mighty river. "Help!" the animals cried. "Help!" cried Anansi, waking up to find himself afloat in the middle of a raging river. He tried to make the water stop, but he couldn't remember the magic words. "Canabra, cadabra, cadabra!" Calabra, Kazabra, Canabra! Kahabra, Kamabra, Kapabra! Nothing happened. The water kept flowing. Help! Cried Anansi. Hyena came drifting by. Hello, Anansi, he said. It's a nice day to be on the water. By the way, I'm looking for a magic stick. Have you seen it? Is it a funny-looking stick? A funny-looking stick just came floating by, Anansi said. I can't see it now. It must be underwater. I think the crocodile ate it. Or else he's using it as a toothpick. I'd better get it back before he breaks it. Hyena leaned over the water and he said, Hocus pocus magic stick, no more magic, end of trick. Abra, canabra, cadabra. The river stopped flowing, leaving behind a wide lake. What are you going to do about this lake? The animals asked. There's nothing I can do, said Hyena. The lake is here and here it stays. You'll have to learn to enjoy it. So they did. The animals built new homes on the lakeshore. They swam, jumped, and played in the bright blue water. But someone was missing. Where was Anansi? Did the flood sweep him away? Did he tumble over a waterfall? Poor Anansi. The animals sniffled, wiping away their tears. We will never see him again. They were wrong. Anansi was far away on the other side of the lake, floating along in his new boathouse, or his houseboat even, sleeping all day and planning new tricks, which is just what Anansi does best. The end. All right, so did you figure out the moral of the story? Put it in the chat box if you think you know what it is. And while you're typing, I just want to tell you that in the library, if you enjoyed this Anansi books, we have another Anansi book. We have a few others, and this one's called Anansi the Spider, A Tale from the Ashanti, that you could check out. Oh, so I'm going to look at that chat box, and while I'm looking at that chat box, I think I might see some of those answers. All right, let me see. All right, now, the moral of the story was hard work pays off, and taking shortcuts may look good at first, but it eventually will fail, just like with Anansi. He wanted to take the shortcut of using that magic stick, but when he fell asleep and he wasn't paying any attention, it failed. And what happened was he flooded the land. So that was the moral of the story. Some of you got that answer. Good job, everybody. All right, and today's challenge, what we're going to do is we're going to engineer a spider's web that will hold on to an insect using only the things that you got. So if you have your activity pack that you picked up from the library, on the back, it has our spider web challenge. You'll need to get these things out now. So you will need your shower curtain ring, you will need your piece of string, and you will need, your itty bitty bean. Now this bean is going to represent the spider. So now, here are the directions. You can work individually or with someone else, but you can only use these 3 things that were in your activity pack. And before you start, I want you to think about the best way you could use these materials to create a spider web. And we want the spider to sit on the web. So first thing we can do is we can take it and we can tie it around, or if you have tape, you could tape it on. And once I tie it on, I am going to start wrapping it around to create a spider web. Now, like I said, you want to think about this, and it's not going to be easy to keep on because that ring is wet. It's not wet. It's round is what I meant to say. What am I talking about? It's wet. Uh-oh. See, my string just came off. You have to be very careful. Now, while you're doing this, I'm going to let you do it. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit of information about spiders and spider webs. So you can work on that while I'm talking. And the first thing I want to show you is here are a few spider webs. Now a spider web is a sticky net that's made from silk to trap the spider's prey. When insects fly or crawl onto that web, they get stuck and the spider eats them. Ew. Most spider webs are very thin, but you know what? They're extremely strong. Different kinds of spiders make different kinds of webs. So not all the webs are the same. However, some species of spiders do not make webs at all for capturing their prey. I have an example of a spider. He's called a trapdoor spider. And this trapdoor spider, the picture comes from sciencenewsforstudents.org. This trapdoor spider digs a hole to live in and he waits until an insect wanders by and then he jumps out and pounces on it. And you can see that little trapdoor in the sand. So he's one kind of spider that doesn't use a web. Here's another spider. This guy is called a wolf spider. He's also from sciencenewsforstudents.org, and he chases its prey and he catches it. But a fun fact is, you know how real wolves tend to howl to let others know they're around? This wolf spider doesn't howl. He kind of purrs like a cat. Now, spiders don't have ears, so sound is not a big part of their lives. So what they do is all that hair that they have on their legs, they can feel the vibration of sound on those little hairs, and that's sort of how they hear. And that's really kind of neat. And my last kind of spider that doesn't use a web, this is called a water-dwelling spider. And you can see that he's resting his feet on the water surface, and he's sensing for vibrations. He's not falling through. When an insect falls onto the water, it runs out to capture them. Now, those are just a few kinds of spiders, but there are other spiders out there. So if you want to learn more information about spiders, we have lots of books on spiders at the library. You've got to show me those spider webs now. Did you finish your spider web? If you did, make sure you take a picture of it and you can upload it on our social media and tag it #OLS Summer-Learning. And some of those pictures will be maybe used on some of our social media. That's awesome. Now, how did you go? How did it go? When you did your spider web, did you get that beam to stick on it without it falling off? This is harder than it looks, isn't it? Now, some way to make this, if this was too easy for you to make it a little more challenging, what you could do is you could use a bigger ring. What happens if you used maybe a canning jar lid, the ring for that? Or what if you used maybe an embroidery hoop? That would make it a little harder. And instead of using maybe this thin string, what happens if you used less string? Because I gave you a lot of string. What happens if maybe you tried yarn that was thicker? Would it stay better? Would it slide off? What happened if you used something like string that you'd put in a needle and thread? That's really thin. That might be harder. I don't know. And what you could do when you use this beam for your spider, instead of just sitting him on top of it to see if he will stay on and not fall through, another challenge you could try is to make him stick inside the web and then pick up your web and move it and see if you can get him to stay in there even when you're moving it. All right, so there are some ways to enhance this challenge for you if that was a little too easy. And what did you learn from this? Can you tell me something that you learned? Did you learn anything about spider webs? Write it in the chat box if you learned anything about spider webs. Maybe how they make them. All right. And did you learn anything else? Did you learn something about spiders? Maybe I touched a little bit about spiders. Well, I have to tell you, thank you for joining me today for this activity. This activity was so much fun,